A long while back, I went on this date with this nonverbal autistic girl, and it was fine and dandy. It was amazing. She couldn't speak, but she could communicate through text messages, and that was pretty cool. She brought her translator with her. It was some guy that kind of was her caretaker, and he ended up leaving on later. And later in that night, we ended up getting smoothly in the bed sheets, and it was actually pretty cool. To my befuddlement, I end up actively telling one of my friends, and they say, "Bro, why'd you sleep with her?" I said, "What's going on? What's happening? Is something wrong? I didn't know what's going on. Maybe she had something I didn't know about. Maybe there was some disease going about that I didn't know about. What's happening?" And he said, "No, they can't consent, man, because they can't speak." I said, "This 28-year-old woman could definitely consent to what's going on. She definitely wanted this." And then he said, "How do you know?" I said, "She texted me and said she wanted it. I really don't know." She also was very active when it came to promiscuity. She was all over me. And he said, "Nah, man, because they got like infant minds." I said, no, she has the mind of a 28-year-old woman. She just is neurodevelopmentally stunted. Like, she's neurodevelopmentally stunted. That's all that's going on. That has nothing to do with her actual mental age. She's definitely 28 years old. I can tell you that. She had the body of a woman." So yeah, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it doesn't make any sense because they don't know what they're doing. I said, "She knew what she was doing. The cunnilinguist was outstanding." "What do you mean?" "That was outstanding. It was amazing. She was Cookie Monster on my boys. It was nuts." And he said, "Nah, man, it's different because, you know, they a little bit behind." I said, "No, it's not different. Who do you think they still have to have bedroom activities? That still has to happen. Somebody has to do it." And he said, "Yeah, but it don't have to be you." I said, "Do you think it has to be someone else like as well as them? They can choose to be with somebody who is not neurodevelopmentally challenged as well. They can do that. They can be with whoever they want to as long as they're the same age. That's a real thing." And he said, "Yeah, but it don't feel right. Do it?" I said, "No, it felt great. I don't understand what was going on. It's people that are high needs autism still have bedroom activity. They still get, freaky in the bed sheets. That's what happens. That's still a thing." And he said, "Oh, really?" I said, "Yeah, really. They still do." He said, "Oh, I thought they just rule it out their whole life because they're kind of like children." I said, no. If they get grown, they're going to have the urges. They still get the urges to want to be with somebody and have a romantic relationship. Just because they're nonverbal or high needs or something of that variety doesn't mean that they don't want to actually do things in the bedroom." He said, "Oh, I never thought about it like that." "Really? You never thought that they could possibly want to?" They still stroke off in their home by themselves. I'm sure. They still play with themselves in some capacity. I'm pretty sure they have activities. They play Toys R Us at home by themselves. He said, "Man, and you doing the public good." I said, "Okay, let's not stop talking about this, man. Let's just not have this conversation." I don't even know how to. That was just strange.